What a week.
Yeah, one hell of a week. I'm glad we got some time off. At least have tomorrow off. God damn, what a
Bro,
week.
bro, I need it because I feel like I haven't had any time off at all with this internet shit.
Uh, oh man, yeah, internet going out sucks ass.
Yes, it does. Especially on Call of Duty weekends. But it is what it is. That's not what we're here for. Prophet, what are we here for?
Oh, what we're here for right now is a episode of Off the Top Rope,
Woo!
New Japan and TNA.
Woo! Like Prophet said, we're going to do things a little bit different. So this episode is going to strictly focus on New Japan and TNA, like Prophet said. We have another episode that's most likely going to come out before this one. We're going to be talking about AEW.
Yep.
We're splitting it up. If y'all like it, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know. We'll figure some things out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But where we got to start.
Oh yeah, no, let's go. Let's get it in.
Uh New Japan Pro Wrestling Capital Collision. New Japan's first show after the G1. I think the show was okay overall. I'm not gonna get into the entire thing because realistically, I can talk about the matches that I want to talk about, but we need to talk first about that main event.
Yeah, let's talk about that main event. Let's talk about it.
Mercedes Moné doing her first defense of the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship, wrestling Momo Watanabe. If y'all don't know Momo, if y'all are just following Mercedes and this is your first time seeing Momo, I'm kind of jealous because Momo is the shit.
Hell yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about the full match, but very good back and forth match. Played in very well into a New Japan main event because again, this was the main event of the show. Mercedes took it in about 20 minutes. Made Momo tap out after hitting the cleanest. What is it called? The Monet Maker, the cleanest Monet Maker that she's ever done, and putting her into the statement maker to make Momo tap out.
Yeah.
Fantastic match. If people haven't watched it, definitely take the time to watch it. If people were doubting Mercedes, definitely sit down and watch this match.
Yeah. I want to add on to that.
Go for it.
For people that were thinking it was Mercedes Monet that made that match bad at All In, watch this match and see what happens when there's actually a real talent there. There's actually somebody that eats, breathes, and sleeps for pro wrestling. Somebody on the equal level to Mercedes Monet, and see the magic that happens in a match, and not somebody that's just like sandbagging because they don't want to lose. Let's yeah, this is a glimpse of like what happens when the competition is at the highest.
You couldn't have said it any better. Yeah, there's a lot of Mercedes talk. There was a lot of Britt Baker talk, a lot of it, but there were a couple people sprinkled in there talking about how Mercedes can't really do anything. I don't know if you've seen Mercedes run at all, because Mercedes just didn't start wrestling again a couple months ago when she went to AEW. She literally changed the landscape of TNA, not TNA, of New Japan.
Yep.
They made a title, the IWGP Women's Championship. They made a title for Mercedes. After Mercedes got hurt and she left, no offense, but now that title is an afterthought and it's depressing. It's not even on any New Japan shows anymore, at all.
Oh yeah, because like not only that, it was that, and like what's her name? Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Sane, like she won the title after from Mercedes,
Mm-hmm.
and then she immediately ran to WWE. So that didn't help it at all. But yeah, it kind of sucks. Like after that, it just kind of just went nowhere.
Because the Mayu Iwatani, who is literally the ace of stardom, one of probably easily one of the top 10 greatest wrestlers today. She has the title. She's had the title since she beat Mercedes. And it's on Stardom shows. She's had a lot of really good defenses. Like, I was literally in the building when she wrestled Shuri for the title. Great match, but it's just not on New Japan shows anymore. It's just low key and afterthought. It's depressing to think about.
Yeah. So I feel like they need to get that title back in the spotlight. Get it in AEW. Find a way to get her and Mercedes to do a match in AEW. That'll put that title back on the map, and it will, it'll elevate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There will not be any bad for doing that.
Mm-hmm. Really quick before we move on to TNA, I'm gonna talk about a couple matches really quick that people should watch from the show. I'm not gonna go super into detail. We got the boy, the G1 winner, Zack Sabre Jr. wrestling against Teton. Teton CMLL, great, very good luchador who has a really big submission bag. If you haven't watched that match, ZSJ and Teton, definitely watch that match. Hiromu wrestled Mustafa Ali. Also a really good match. Now those two are 1-1, so we're talking about a third match. But Mustafa said, I want to do this in Best of Super Juniors. So it sounds like finally we got Mustafa Ali in Best of Super Juniors next year. But we'll see. It's a while away. We'll see if that happens. And finally, Gabe Kidd and Leo Rush had a great match. Like, Gabe Kidd and Leo Rush both are very underrated. They had a really good one. There a couple other matches on the show were all right, but realistically, those matches that I talk about were definitely the ones to watch if you haven't watched the show.
Awesome. Yeah. I want to see the Gabe Kidd Leo Rush one. I for sure want to see that one.
It was real good. It was real good. But with that, got a little short update. I think we can move on to the main event of this episode, TNA.
TNA. So Impact this week, is the lead up to Emergence, and man, there was some good stuff here this week. Yeah, like a lot of the matches were good. The promo segment at the very end between Nemeth and Josh Alexander, that was great. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna go into it.
Let's get it.
Okay, so the first match to start out in Impact was Rich Swann versus Mike Bailey for the X Division title. And whoever wins this match defends it at the Ultimate X. So this match was good. But like in the back of my mind, I'm like, Mike Bailey is the biggest idiot in wrestling. So like he's just the biggest moron. But yeah, so it starts out Rich Swann, he comes out quick. Like he gets that offense in, and as quickly as Rich Swann got the offense in, Mike Bailey countered. And after like a little bit of them countering each other, the shit went into overdrive. They started pulling big move after big move. Like it was going crazy. There's one part during the match where they were matching kicks. So Rich Swann would kick, so like Rich Swann would do like a side kick, to try to kick Mike Bailey in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Bailey throws the same kick. So they were kicking each other with the same kick. And then when at the very end of that exchange where they were matching each other's kicks, they both did a tornado kick and knocked each other out.
Oh my god.
I was like, holy shit. That shit was like, sounds silly when I talk about it, but watching it was fucking cool as shit. But during this time, like AJ Francis, of course, like started trying to do some interference. And, since Mike Bailey, he comes out with Trent Seven. So Trent, every time AJ Francis was trying to do something, Trent Seven was there to stop it. They eventually got into a fight, and then uh, at one point, Rich Swann gets distracted, and Mike Bailey just runs up to him and does a Spanish Fly. And yeah, Mike Bailey won a match with the Spanish Fly, like a run-up Spanish Fly,
Hmm.
like some crazy shit. Like, you don't just run up to somebody and do a Spanish Fly, but he did it.
That's nice and different.
Yeah. But overall, match was fun. It was a good match. Again, I I know I said this. I think it was last week about Rich Swann, but people gotta remember Rich Swann is so damn good. That guy is ridiculous, and there was a reason why in the past he was world heavyweight champion. So
Yep.
yeah, you know, Rich Swann is dope. Um, so right after this, there was a Jordynne Grace segment, and she talks about her match, tonight, and her match later on tonight, that night. So she was pretty much, going through. She was like, "Hey, I'm giving everybody a shot at this TNA World Heavyweight Championship, women's championship," and she's going through everybody. And tonight she's gonna come out as that's still the women's champion. And after that is probably the most boring match on the card: Joe Hendry versus Brian Myers. Joe Hendry comes out and he cuts a little promo before the match, and he talks about how there was if you remember back in WWE way back when Brian Myers was uh affiliated with Edge, and the thing they all used to say all the time, they used to call Brian Myers Edge's bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So he got the fans to chant that, which I'm like, dude, Edge isn't even in WWE. He's Adam Copeland now and far better in AEW. And two, like, what's the point of bringing that up? Like, there is none. Like, Brian Myers is far past being, you know, what he was in WWE. He's like a multi-time champion in TNA. There's, I don't know. It just didn't really jive with me very well.
I, I have thoughts, but you can go ahead and finish the match.
But yeah, like my main thing, my main note after he did that, I'm like, yeah, this dude's completely WWE now. They might as well just like take him. He like his timing and all of his stuff, his promos and stuff like that. It's all WWE. Like that whole style that he does now is just that. So of course, they start the match. Um, the first part of the match wasn't really anything. It was just them like, make, attacking each other, and then, a little bit into it, Alicia Edwards and Eddie Edwards were kicked out from ringside by the ref. And then like right after that went to picture in picture, and picture in picture for the commercial. And there's a reason why I'm pointing this out. It went picture in picture. Um, and before picture in picture ended, like all the commercials that were going on in picture, Joe Hendry wins.
Oh, during picture in picture?
Yeah, during picture in picture, he
Hmm.
won. He beats Brian Myers with the was it? I forget the hell of the name of his move. But right, it's immediately after that, Eddie Edwards runs back to the ring and beats the shit out of Joe Hendry. And as he's beating up Joe Hendry, uh, so he's beating up Joe Hendry, and Santana is now coming to the ring because the next match is Eddie Edwards versus Santana. So Santana is just casually walking to the ring, letting Joe Hendry get the shit kicked out of him. And he did his whole entrance, and then he finally got in the ring, and Joe Hendry rolled out, and Santana and Eddie Edwards started their match.
Hmm.
It like just like slid, it went from one match to the next, like immediately. And Santana, like right away, he was beating the crap out of Eddie Edwards. Um, Eventually, in the match, Alicia Edwards comes out and she helps Eddie gain control by like jumping in front of him. And he wasn't gonna hit Alicia Edwards, so Eddie Edwards like pushes Alicia Edwards to Santana, and then he hits him, and then he starts gaining control through the match. After a few minutes of Santana getting the crap beat out of him, he comes back. He regains control and then hits a big discus lariat and then wins, and takes the win. Those two were like kind of like rapid fire, like they were like back to back. It was, I think, over a span of like 15 minutes, it was those two matches.
I actually really like that. One, I really like the fact that a match ends in picture. I know that might seem a little weird, but that kind of makes it feel like matches really can end at any time. You know what I mean? That means you should be paying attention to that picture box. If you're right there, you're looking at it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I didn't have a problem with it ending in picture. I just wanted to point it out that the match literally like one, because like usually you expect it. Oh, when it comes back, that's when it's going to end, right? Nope, ended in picture.
Yeah, that's dope to me.
Edwards came out and started beating the crap out of him.
Can we really quick talk about Joe Hendry's little insult to Brian Myers?
Yeah,
real quick.
Yeah,
bro, Joe Hendry, you don't have to pander to WWE. They already got you, bro. Aren't you in a fucking main event against Ethan Page? Like, you're good, bro. You don't have to be doing this bullshit. Just go ahead and do your thing. Go ahead and we know you're going to WWE. We know you're going to NXT. Go and do your thing. Proud of you. Congratulations. You belong there. But you don't need to be bringing up like old WWE shit, bro. Like, come on. You don't have to pander like that. Just go ahead, do your thing, and move on. I know I got nothing better to say about Brian Myers, but it is what it is. Just move along, please.
Yeah, don't be talking about the most professional wrestler out there. God damn it.
And if you're going to have something, definitely you can make fun of him for doing something in TNA. You don't have to go back to WWE like 10 years ago. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, you don't have to go back to WWE when they were trying to make a joke out of him and, make him lose like 154 matches in a row, like, or some bullshit, Come on.
Yeah, keep it TNA focused. Like whatever. If you want to do other places, you can definitely do other places, but it should also have something to do with you. Like we've seen even in WWE, we've seen like feuds with people in WWE that have kind of like started other places and they were able to bring it up there, but they were also involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not involved in shit, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man. I kind of, that was probably like the one part I just didn't like. I was like, why you gotta bring that up? I'm like, out of everything, I guess it's like funny for somebody, but to me, I'm like, he is way past that. He has been past that. He has been in TNA and he's been kicking ass in TNA this whole time, completely like reinvented himself. He's not even close to what he was when when WWE didn't know what to do with him and was just throwing him everywhere.
Yep.
Like, stop it.
But that's all. I do want to watch Santana and Eddie Edwards though. Like I want to sit down and watch that match.
That match was,
it was probably short, right? You said it sounded like kind of short because in the 15 minutes we had two matches.
Yeah, so I think it was probably the longer of the two.
Okay.
So like maybe the Joe Hendry match was like 5-6 minutes, and the rest of that was like Santana and Eddie Edwards. It was good though. It was good.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I'm gonna sit down and watch that match then.
Let's see. So right after that, we have Matt Cardona, the king of the death match, and he and we didn't get to it last week, but you figure out what the loophole was that we already talked about. I was like, dude, Matt Cardona, of course he signed the contract, but he put some fucked up clause in there. We find out what the clause was. He was like, "Hey, uh, oh my god, oh, Jesus, why did I forget his name? Santino. Jesus." It's like, "Hey, Santino, uh, yeah, I signed a contract, but you forgot to read the rest of it. He's like, if I'm not medically cleared to do the match, I get to pick somebody of my choosing." So he's been picking people and putting them in his place, like the last couple of weeks, and I think he picked somebody at Emergence too.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much the segment. And Santino was pissed. It's like, damn it, Santino, you signed it, you asshole.
Should have had your lawyer read it, bro. You should have
Yeah.
known.
Right after that was Eric Young versus Hammerstone. And right before the match, Steve Macklin comes out to commentary. And, he was like, the main thing he was saying in commentary was, hey, him and Eric Young have never wrestled each other before. And he says Eric Young's the past, and he's the current, he's the future of, TNA, and he wants to take Eric Young out pretty much. Right at the beginning of the match, Eric Young, he tries to attack Hammerstone, just right from the jump. And Hammerstone just overpowers him and beats the shit out of him. And, eventually Eric Young was able to stagger Hammerstone a little bit. And he comes back and he hits a big ass Death Valley driver for a near fall. Hammerstone comes back and hits a big ass power slam. Like, I was like, God damn, dude. Like, dude, he was doing some Road Warrior shit, man. Hit him so hard with that power slam. And he gets in, and then, he gets the near fall on Eric Young. And then right after that, he gets up, he runs, and he fucking boots Eric Young in the face. And then hits him with a big ass power bomb. Like, dude was relentless.
Mm.
And gets another 2 count. Eventually, like, he knocks Eric Young on the ropes. Well, no, he throws him into the corner, and Eric Young does the Ric Flair thing where he flips over and goes on. He's on the apron,
Hmm.
and then Hammerstone is trying to run, and he tries to run and do a boot, but Eric Young moves out the way. He gets hung up, and Eric Young hits him, and then knocks him down for a bit, right? So Eric Young jumps to the outside of the ring, and he walks around the ring. And then he gets in Macklin's face and tells him to shut up and sit his ass down. And then Eric Young climbs to the top rope. Hammerstone gets up because he recovered because, Eric Young was screwing around. He gets up, recovers. He charges the rope, charges to the turnbuckle. Eric Young jumps off the top. He flips over. And then Hammerstone, he runs, boots him again. And then, well, not boot. He does the Claymore kick. He claymores Eric Young, and then he picks him up and he does the Nightmare Pendulum for the finish. And yeah, Hammerstone won.
Not a shock.
That was,
Proper win.
yeah, that was a good match. It was a pretty damn good match. Yeah, all of it felt pretty good, well put together. So next was ABC versus Cody Deaner and Jake something. And so right in the beginning, Deaner, now Deaner, he cuts a little promo every time he gets to the ring now. And he's like, it's not what I want, it's what the people want. And right before he does that, Jake something snatches the mic from him and pushes him. And he's like, hey, it's not what the people want. He's like, screw that. We're here to establish ourselves as a tag team. And, we're not. And for us to do that, we can't care what the people want. We got to do something. We got to get in. And then he calls out the ABC. the ABC come to the ring, and you know how usually they do, they show the titles, they on the top rope, start cheering with the crowd and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nah, Jake Something wasn't having it. He cut him off on everything. They weren't even able to do that. Jake Something was like, nah, you ain't doing that shit.
Hell yeah.
He didn't give a fuck. He just got into it. He got in their face. He was like, nah. And they were like, oh shit. And they were looking all confused and stuff. Um so it started out with Jake Something and Ace Austin. Austin, he did his quick offense, did his kicks, did his stuff. And Jake Something didn't care. He overpowered the shit out of him and then started beating the crap out of him, and then he power bombs into the turnbuckle and tags Cody Deaner. Him and Deaner are switching off doing tag moves to Ace Austin, and finally, there was a tag to Deaner. Deaner and Austin are slow down the pace of the match, and Deaner puts him in a few holds, and then Austin, he's trying to get over to the corner to tag Chris Bay. At one point, he gets close to Chris Bay, but he can't. Deaner pulls him back and tries to get him into a German suplex. Austin flips over him and then runs and tags Chris Bay. Chris Bay, of course, clears the ring. He beats up both. At one point in time, he was beating up both Jake Something and Cody Deaner. And as he's doing that, Ace Austin finally recovers. And like during this whole match, Jake Something was like, he was a man possessed. He was like rushing everybody. Like anybody he saw, he fucking rushed them. But it was kind of to his demise because he tried to rush both Chris Bay and Ace Austin. They did the thing where they pulled the rope down and he fell out of the ropes, and he got knocked down, and then they hit the what the hell is that move called? Let's see. It's called the Style and Finesse, and they hit that on Deaner, and that was it. But at the very end of the match, AJ Francis and Rich Swann jump in, and beat the crap out of the ABC, and then pick up the tag belts and are holding it over them, and then place it back down on them and leave. And that was the setup for their match on Emergence.
Okay.
So overall, good match. I can't take Cody Deaner seriously. Yeah, no, I can't. Like, he was the guy that was wrestling. So he went from being the redneck guy that was like, the Joe Dirt guy that was wrestling with ODB,
Mm-hmm.
and wrestled ODB to try to take the women's championship. He's like, that's my women's championship. Just like doing that, to being the leader, to supposedly killing Eric Young. And then Eric Young coming back, and then that whole faction just imploding. And now he's back to, I don't know, weird tweener Cody Deaner. I have no idea what he is.
I've always kind of felt bad for Cody Deaner because, listen, look, you can't replace Eric Young as a leader of a faction. Eric Young, despite what anyone could ever say about him, he makes fire factions, bro. Like,
oh yeah,
him and Sanity was fantastic. His violence by design when he was doing it was also great. So you take him out of it, like Cody Deaner, like, again, no offense, I'm not saying, because I actually like Cody Deaner, but bro, you're not Eric Young. I don't know what it is about Eric Young either. I really don't. But he definitely just has that like silent charisma to where you believe he can pull people in to follow him.
Kind of like a certain cult leader we all know.
In a way, yes.
in a different way.
in a different way, but he's definitely on like if we have like a tier list of like cult leaders,
Yes.
Mark Briscoe will be up there first for sure. Like S tier cult leader. I would put I'll put Eric Young up there somewhere. He would be in that top tier also.
Oh my god. Yeah, man. Like I think we said this on the show. I think I said it on the show. Like Eric Young is probably one of the most slept on wrestlers. Like there's for no reason. He's like people just sleep on Eric Young. The dude's solid all around, and he's overall good. Like yeah,
We live in a world now where like solid 10, 15 years, ooh, not even 10 years ago at this point now. Solid 15 years ago would have been great. You know what I mean? But we have so many all-time greats right now between the ages of like 25 and 45 alone. I'm not even counting people like Adam Copeland, not even counting people like Christian Cage, not even counting people like Randy Orton, right? Like you have a lot of people right now that are just so good that you being solid just makes you feel like you're slept on. And it's sad, but that's the reality of wrestling right now. There's so much good talent right now that someone like Eric Young just kind of slips, and it's sad because he's also great, but he's not like an all-time great. But he does what he needs to do.
yeah. Well, the last few guys, like Adam Copeland, Randy Orton. Well, shit. I think AJ Styles is there now.
Yeah, AJ Styles too.
Those guys aren't even like those guys are legends now. They're just they're legend tier. They're just there.
That's why I said 25 to 45. Like
Yeah.
I think AJ is actually like 44 or 45 somewhere right there. But he's legend. I'm taking him out of that. Like this generation of like wrestlers right now is insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by far, man. Like yeah, there's just a lot of good wrestlers, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people should watch, the last like 4 or 5 years of work of Eric Young. He's done some great work.
He really has.
And not to take anything away from Cody Deaner, because all the roles Cody Deaner has played, like the role he played with ODB was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It was probably some of the most funny shit on TNA at that time. And yeah, he wrestled ODB because he wanted to take the women's championship.
Like I said, bro, it's just hard to follow up Eric Young. Like you can't boot him out of a faction and be the leader, and you're not going to be on the same level. You just can't. There aren't a lot of people that can be.
No, not at all. No, yeah, he's not going to be at that level. And it also sucked too because they midway through that they lost Eric Young and they lost Joe Doring, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and Big Joe Doring was dope. But yeah. But yeah, like overall, ABC, Cody Deaner, and Jake something that was a pretty solid match. It did what it needed to do, and that was at the end set up for the emergence match, and maybe something with Jake something and Cody Deaner later on. Let's see. So okay, right after that was the Jordynne Grace versus Ash by Elegance match, which I'm gonna just flat out say was probably the match of the night for TNA.
Okay.
Easy. And it was a match by Elegance.
Oh.
Match, which basically falls count anywhere and no DQ, and all the chairs and shit everywhere were it was like I don't know, it's like you went into Barbie Land and like took steel chairs and painted them pink and put fuzzy shit on it and a pink kendo stick, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just stylized for Ash by Elegance. So right in the beginning, how they do the announcement, they announce each wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
The personal concierge, of course, took the mic and announced Ash by Elegance. And as the lady was announcing Jordynne Grace, Ash by Elegance just hits her with the chair before before the bell even rings,
Smart.
and then attacking Jordynne Grace. um, and then that's how the match started. She hits Jordynne Grace with the chair. Let's see, so they ended up going back and forth. Jordynne Grace started taking control. There's at one point where the metal trash cans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jordynne Grace put the metal trash can sitting not where you could put the trash in, but the base where it sits on, that facing up. Okay. And
Okay.
she put Ash by Elegance over it. And then she splashed Ash by Elegance on it and then bounced off. And of course, it wasn't like one of the aluminum ones that crumple. So it was like smack, and then she flew off the trash can. I'm like, holy shit. I know that fucking hurt. And then, after that spot right there, they turned it up and then they literally beat the shit out of each other with every weapon across the ring, around the ring. So, like, at one point, the trash can lid, a pink trash can lid, uh, kendo stick, glass. Somebody got powerbombed on the diamonds.
Oof.
And of course, got hit by chairs. And so, like, as this is going on, Jordynne Grace sets up a table on the outside, and she's gonna like put Ash through it. Personal concierge, of course, comes up, sprays Jordynne Grace in the eyes. They roll in the ring, and Ash by Elegance is holding Jordynne Grace, so personal concierge can hit her with some stiletto heels, and a wild Rosemary appears.
Oh.
From under the ring. So Rosemary appears and she personal concierge is like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And he runs. And Ash is like, why are you running? And then she turns around and sees Rosemary, and Rosemary spears her. Jordynne Grace pins her, and Ash kicks out. And they start going at it again. They start getting closer and closer to the table. And as they're getting closer to the, because they're in the ring, they're going close to the table. As they're doing that, and Jordynne Grace is about to do something, do a big move. Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich come out, and then they attack Jordynne Grace. And Masha Slamovich hits that badass fucking pile driver that she does.
Yeah.
The package pile driver. And then they drape Ash by Elegance over her. Jordynne Grace, of course, kicks out. And then before they can start beating her up again, Spitfire comes out. They chase Masha and Alicia Edwards out of the ring. And at this time, Ash by Elegance has a chair, and she's on the top rope, right? And Jordynne Grace recovered, and she was, going to run at her. Ash by Elegance tries to throw the chair at her. Jordynne Grace catches the chair, hits Ash by Elegance upside the head with the chair, and then gets her in the muscle buster and muscle buster her through the table on the floor.
Damn.
And then she pins her, and Jordynne Grace gets the win.
Yeah, this is gonna be one I'm gonna have to watch, because this one probably, like you already said, match of the night. This one definitely seems like a must watch for me. I need to watch this one.
Yeah, that was like, that was that was the best match of the night by far. Like, I was like, damn, they're gonna do a pay-per-view tomorrow. The next day, shit.
Also, while we're right here, while I'm still on this positive kick right now, shout out Ash by Elegance, bro. Shout out. Good shit.
I think we've shouted her out every week so far.
And I'm going to keep doing it, because she has improved leaps and bounds, which is just proof that if you really wanted to improve in wrestling, you could. Cough, cough, cough. Moving on.
Yeah. Yep. There's two people that come to mind, but I ain't gonna mention them.
We'll talk about them a little bit later, actually.
Yeah. We'll move on. So now is the pretty much the main thing of the night. It's Nick Nemeth and Josh Alexander. The pre-talk before the match. Of course, they have the clause they can't touch each other or the match is called off. That's the common thing now. Everybody doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Alexander pretty much is saying, hey, I'm the same Josh Alexander. I've been the guy that's been standard bearer of the division. And, I was the flag bearer. Backstage and management literally just decided to forget about me so they could play with their new shiny toy, Nick Nemeth, when he came there. And here I am, the guy that never lost the title. I got injured and I had to give up the title. And he's like, Nick Nemeth, you ain't the champion until you actually beat me. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm still the champ. Because I never lost it. Nick Nemeth comes back and he talks about how he was, he continues he's the fighting champion thing. And that he mentions that, Josh Alexander is low, his way of doing things now is low blowing people and, doing cheap stuff for the win. And he's like, I totally get it. I used to do the same thing, but I'm not doing it now because I am, fighting clean. I'm the champ. And then he says something and I'm like, and I kind of had me turn my head. He's like, I'm the champion because, not because of my past, but because, I went in there and fought for it. He's like, well, your world title reign, no one remembers. I'm like,
come on, bro. Oh my God.
I turned my head. I was like, huh? It was like, wait, hold on. The only reason you even got 2 shots at that title is because you came from WWE. The only reason everybody knows you is because you came from WWE. If you were just Nick Nemeth that came from, I don't know, PWG or something, no one would know who the fuck you are. Like, Josh Alexander is the longest reigning TNA Impact World Champion.
He's literally part of the reason why Impact was able to take the name TNA again.
Yes. Like, he was literally the guy. Don't sit there and talk about no one know who the hell he was or nobody knew anything about his title reign. No, get that out of here, dude. He's like, well, how come I haven't heard of you and stuff like that? It kind of went that way. And I'm like, okay, that's a weird retort, Nimith. Like,
yeah, how the fuck are you gonna step in the TNA ring? How are you gonna step in the Impact ring, and you don't know Josh Alexander, the person who literally carried the company for like the last 5 years? Come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah. No, it's like that kind of fell flat on me. Like, they eventually, like, at the end of it, got heated, and Josh Alexander just walked away, right? Like, and then that was pretty much the end of the episode. But yeah, that one little part, I was like, you probably shouldn't have said that.
No, definitely not.
Because that took me out of it, like, completely. I was like, nah, I can't agree with you, Nick Nemeth. Like, he was literally the guy carrying the company that you decided to come to. Like, if it wasn't for him carrying the company, they would have been buried a long time ago.
And let's be extra real. Nemeth went to the first place he went was New Japan. That's the first place he went. He didn't come to TNA immediately. He went straight to New Japan, sat in the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom, and helped ruin a new fucking championship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear that shit from Nemeth. Nemeth, bro, like, if this doesn't do like a turn, if Nemeth doesn't turn, if Nemeth is just generic babyface fire, this shit does not work for me.
Yeah, yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. Now, I'm going to say they both put on, like, the 30-minute Iron Man match was fire. That shit was good between those two, the 30-minute one.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that promo, the promo from Nemeth's side specifically, took me out of it. Like, I was in there. When Josh was saying his thing, he was talking his shit. I was like, okay, I get it. I get where he's coming from. Okay, let's hear what Nemeth has to say. I was with Nemeth, and then he said that, and I was like, nope, I'm out of it.
Yeah,
You know,
you don't have to throw the nobody knew you type of thing, because that's not. You're in a TNA ring. You're in the middle of a TNA audience. Like, that shit can work fucking in Stanford, sure. Like, you can do that. That's what fucking Cena did to AJ Styles, right? And it worked there because those motherfuckers don't follow wrestling, right? You can't say you don't know who Josh Alexander is while you're standing in TNA as the fucking TNA World Heavyweight Champion. It doesn't work.
like literally the guy that held the title before you did.
Yeah, that shit does not work, bro.
The guy that never lost the title, right? Like, you're like, oh, that's the past. Oh, you're banking on the past. It's like, no. Like, technically, he never lost a title. So it is the present, and him being the longest reigning TNA champion, yeah, you could talk about that. It's the past shit, but there's a reason why he was the longest reigning TNA champion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is literally the standard of the company. He was literally the best. Like, for you to sit there and say, "Oh, you're not changing with the times or anything like that," which is something Nemeth said. He's not evolving. In just being a wrestler doesn't handle it anymore. I'm like, no, that's not true.
Yeah, I'm
like,
not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. I'm really not.
like you could take you if you want to talk that shit. You could take Josh Alexander right now, put him in the AEW ring. He's easily, in AEW, he is easily probably like, I'd say like, he's in the top 20 in AEW.
Wrestling wise, hell yeah.
Yeah, like you could put him in there, and he would give him the international title. Have him like show up every week and fuck people up. He could do that.
Listen, bro. Fucking no one knows Josh Alexander, right? Josh Alexander is going to be wrestling Konosuke Takeshita in Scott D'Amore's promotion, bro. Like, you don't get to just wrestle Takeshita.
Like, he's going to be wrestling Takeshita. But, who is, well, we can say it right now. He's the future ace of AEW.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? He's the future ace of AEW. He's the he's going to be the Tanahashi of AEW by far. Like, that boy's on another level. You don't just put no bullshit against Takeshita. And you got Josh Alexander wrestling. You ain't got fucking Nick Nemeth wrestling him. I don't think Nick Nemeth can handle, Takeshita, but that's here nor there.
Nemeth went to Japan. He wrestled Ishii. Ishii beat the shit out of him. He wrestled Tanahashi. That was Tanahashi's old now. And then he wrestled David Finlay twice. And no offense to David Finlay, I've definitely turned the corner on Finlay, especially after the G1. But listen, you didn't really go through a lot of people in New Japan. They gave you a title because of your name, and then you proceeded to ruin that title. And now Finlay has to figure that out, but he can't because he was in the middle of a G1.
Right, which is, and that's like the other part of like when he said that to Alexander, and I'm like, wait, hold on, you've only been given titles because of your past.
Exactly.
So the fuck you mean?
There's no way if you weren't Dolph Ziggler before, you would have gotten a championship in TNA. Or, yeah, in TNA. If you weren't Dolph Ziggler before, there's no way you would have got a championship in New Japan. If you weren't Dolph Ziggler before, there's no way on God's green fucking earth you would hold the AAA World Heavyweight, the Mega Championship, their top championship in AAA. No.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
So, yeah, like, you know, there's a lot of, you know, at the end there was a lot of fire and stuff like that, but I was like, man, that one thing took me out of it completely. Like,
Yeah,
so
because it doesn't work in the location.
It just doesn't work. Like, you can't say that to the, okay, you're holding the title that the guy before you held the longest in the company, longer than Angle, longer than, like, you know, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, all those guys, right? Like the mainstays of the company.
Mm-hmm.
He's the longest holder of it. You know, put some respect on Josh Alexander's name. You know, that's all. You know what? That's all I'm gonna say about it, because I can go on a long ass tangent.
Yeah, we can. I was thinking while we were talking, I don't want to talk about Emergence right now. I'd rather watch the show first before I talked about it. So
Yeah.
we will talk about Emergence and Impact, the episode after, on next week's TNA pod.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. With that, bro, take us home.
Okay, guys. So, with this episode of Impact, it was good. Like, overall, it was a good episode leading into Emergence. Minus what I was talking about with the, you know, Nick Nemeth and Josh Alexander thing. Some of y'all might like it. To me, I was like, I could go without that one thing that, you know, kind of like just took me out of it completely. But overall, it was good. Jordynne Grace and Ash by Elegance. Kudos to both of you. You guys are fucking awesome. You kicked ass. And it was literally the best match on the card that night. With all of that, thank you guys for listening to us. Throw some comments on there. And, you know, tap a like. Tap that like. Ain't gonna hurt you. And subscribing ain't gonna hurt nobody either.
Mm-hmm.
Catch you later. Thanks.
Peace.